Hey everybody, JC here with another T&I toy review, and today's review is in association with Tformers.com, your #1 news source for everything Transformers. And for today's review, we're going to take a look at the new Transformers Combiner Wars Powerglide figure from Hasbro. Now this figure is part of Hasbro's Legends scale line of figures, so it's a smaller figure. It's on a simple card back. You've got some art featuring the character up at the top. I think this is the same artwork that appears in the IDW comic book. I won't swear to it, but I think that's what it's from. You've got the figure clearly displayed on the card back. You've got this little sticker on the blister that says combine to form, and then off to the side you can see the Superion combiner. You've got the Autobot logo up in the top right corner, you've got the Transformers logo, and you've got the name of the character, and it tells you that it includes a little collector card as well. On the back of the packaging we again have the name, we've got the Combiner Wars logo, a little brief bio, says Powerglide's aerial acrobat well versed in dogfighting tactics, and it says that in multiple languages. And then it shows the toy in its multiple modes, so the airplane mode, robot mode, and then this weird looking gun mode that's supposed to be for skydive. I guess he's supposed to be like a target master. Doesn't look like much of a gun to me, but but they consider it a third mode, I guess. And then it tells you down here what is included with the in the packaging, so the figure, the collector card, and some instructions. Okay, so let's get this open and take a look at what's inside. So here's a look at the figure outside of the packaging, and I think Hasbro's done a really good job of capturing the G1 look for this figure. Much more so than the previous Powerglide that Hasbro did. And here's a comparison of the two, and you can see, this one just looks much more like what we saw in the cartoon and everything. I think the colors are also a little more true as well. This one's a lighter maroon than what was used on this previous one. So, overall paint detail is pretty nice. Again, it's, not really anything in the way of washworks or anything, but, it's the plastic is that maroon color for most of the body, and then they use kind of a beige gray for the arms and the upper legs and the face plate and his these little shoulder mounts. And then he's got some this little metallic silver with blue on his waist. The Autobot logo is clearly displayed on his chest, and that's painted on there with kind of a metallic type paint with red and silver. So I think overall it looks really good. He's got some black on the tip of his engines. So I think the coloring on this and everything came out looking pretty sharp. He's got the little Gatling gun on the top of his head, and that's more for his airplane mode. He does not come with any kind of accessories, no weapons or anything, but the original Powerglide didn't either. He does come with this collector card, and this basically card, it's cardboard, and it just has the same artwork that we saw in the packaging. It's got the name of the character. Unfortunately, there's no stats or anything with this on the back. It's just got the Transformers Generations Autobot logo and the Hasbro logo. So it's kind of lame that they didn't give us stats or something, but I like the artwork. And again, I think this is the artwork that appears in the IDW comic book. Also included in the packaging is this instruction sheet that tells you how to transform him from his robot to his plane mode and into the gun mode as well. And on the back of the figure again, some nice detailing. You got the black plastic for the cockpit. Again, on the ends of the engines you've got some black, which is nice. And I don't know if these are supposed to be like little mini missiles or something. This is more for when you transform them into a gun. But it kind of, you could kind of, if you wanted to, use them as little wrist rockets. I think that kind of works. So the figure stands, if you count from his feet to the tip of his wing, stands just about 4 inches tall. So he's about the same height as that previous Powerglide, though with the wings he's maybe a little bit taller, but for the most part they're about the same height. Here he is next to the Masterpiece Bumblebee, and you can see Bumblebee's definitely taller, so they're not quite in scale, but honestly I think they're kind of close enough that if we get a Masterpiece Powerglide, I think this one might fit in with your Masterpieces if you wanted to. Also, here he is next to that little mini Spike figure that came with the Masterpiece Optimus Prime. It's a pretty good scale with that. And then for one more comparison, here he is next to the Generations Cosmo figure, which this was another one I thought Hasbro did a pretty good job capturing the G1 look for, and you can see they're about the same height. So articulation on this one's, it's pretty good. All the joints are attached with those ball joints, so you do have a tendency when you're moving them, especially when you're trying to transform it, for the joints to kind of pop off. They pop right back on, but just something to be wary of. You're probably used to it with Transformers by now. And the entire figure is basically all made of plastic. There's no die-cast metal or anything, which I don't think you would expect, but just wanted to note that. So articulation, he does actually have some head movement. Now this is more for the transformation, but you can turn his head left and right some, so that's pretty good. No up or down movement with the head. Arms are attached with those ball joints, so he can get his arm out good, and he's got good rotation there at the arm. He's got good bending at the elbow, basically a double jointed type elbow. So he's got good bending there. No wrist articulation, obviously, on this. No midsection articulation, no waist swivel or anything. Legs are attached with those ball joints, so he can do the splits pretty good, and he can get his leg forward good. Can't really do his leg back. He's got this piece that does kind of pop up, but even still, you can't really get the leg back. You can kind of do the leg outward because again it's attached with that ball joint, and then the knee bends pretty good, again another ball joint, so he's got good bending at the knee. And then for the ankles themselves, not really much in the way of articulation. Again, part of the transformation, you can do the ankle upwards, but you can't do it down any, so that's about the only movement at the ankle. Okay, so transforming Powerglide from robot mode to airplane mode is not terribly difficult. Basically, the first thing you want to do is you want to turn his head so that it's facing backwards. So you just kind of turn it around. And then you want to pull the head back from the chest and kind of pull it up. Then you can take his arms, and basically what you want to do is you've got these little pieces that stick out, and there's these holes on the side of his wings, and basically you want to just bend his arms so that those little pieces of plastic fit into the holes on his wings and kind of lock into place. Then for his legs and his feet, basically you want to push the feet so that, forward. And then his legs basically just fit together. And then you can just kind of pull the back wings down so that they're off to the side. Now one thing I want to note here is you'll notice that it's looks a little bit crooked here at the waist once you put the legs together, and it's how the ball joints are. I don't know if it's just with mine, but it doesn't seem to line perfectly right, and so it can kind of mess up the back there. It has when you try and straighten it, it has a tendency for the legs to come apart. So I don't know if that's just with mine, but it doesn't seem to line up perfectly, which can be kind of a little bit of a pain. So just wanted to note that. So then you take the wings and you just pull them down and then turn them so that they're facing the right direction. And then you put this back flap and you just push it down, and that basically is it. And if you want, he's got a landing gear in the front, and you just kind of have to push on the end of it to kind of get it to push down, and then use your fingernails to pull it out. Okay, so here's a look at Powerglide in his plane mode, and I don't know, I don't quite like his plane mode as much as I like his robot mode. Something looks a little bit off to me in his plane mode. I don't know if it's, you know, because you can see his hands still when you're looking at it from the side, or if when you're looking at it from above, the ball joints are exposed. Plus, again, this little plastic seems a little bit off as far as being warped, so the back end looks a little bit crooked, at least on mine. But I don't know, I just something seems a little bit off in his plane mode. It's not horrible or anything, but definitely think his robot mode is better looking than his plane mode for this version of Powerglide. I do like how he's got the little Gatling gun, and again, the cockpit, nice detailing there. I guess it's probably not, the original G1 version didn't have Autobot logos on his wings, I don't think, but I think it would have looked better if they'd included some kind of Autobot logo. I like on the previous Powerglide, I actually like the plane mode better for this one, and I like how they included those Autobot logos on his wings. I also like the little extra detailing with the silver. Now again, I realize that the G1 counterpart didn't have that stuff, but I do think that kind of makes the plane mode on this version of Powerglide better than on this one. And just for another comparison, here he is next to that Generations Cosmo figure, and they look pretty good together. Okay, so Powerglide here has one more transformation, and I guess this is supposed to be for the Combiner Wars aspect of the toy. And to me it's kind of lame, but basically you're supposed to be able to transform him into a gun for Skydive, the Aeriobot Skydive. Now to me, why it's lame is because this transformation, when you're done, looks nothing like a gun to me. It just looks like something they kind of made up on the fly. But in order to do it, what you do is basically you take the back wings and you just flip them down, and then you take the engines and you just slide them forward. They're on a little slide mechanism, so you just slide them forward, and you want to make sure the legs stay together when you do that. Then you can take the front wings and you can turn them, and then you just kind of push them forward, like you had it when you had them in robot mode. And you want to make sure the landing gear is down for this mode, because that basically will make the handle for the cannon. And then the last thing you want to do is flip this back flap and flip it up, and I guess it's kind of makes the target piece, and you got that little blue piece, so I guess that's supposed to be like the targeting, the scope or something. And so I don't have Skydive, so I can't show you Skydive holding it, but basically, that's supposed to make the rifle. And again, to me, this looks nothing like a rifle, so it's kind of a lame transformation if you ask me, but there you go. Okay, so that's my review. Overall, I think this is a pretty good figure. I definitely like the robot mode on this one better than the vehicle mode. I think they did a good job in the robot mode of capturing the look of the G1 look for Powerglide. I think it's as good as the original G1 toy as far as the robot mode goes. The plane mode I don't like quite as much. It just looks a little bit off to me, but it's not horrible or anything. But I don't like the plane mode on this one, or the vehicle mode, as much as I like the robot mode. But again, overall it's a pretty solid figure, good, decent articulation, movement, easy transformation, and like I said, a very solid looking robot mode. So this figure is hitting shelves now, so if you want to pick it up, start checking pretty much any place that sells Transformers. And that's my review. I hope you liked it. If you're so inclined, please like the video and leave a comment and let us know what you think. And if you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel. And until next time, I'll catch you later.